Welcome to Super Nutrition Academy's Health Class with your host and registered holistic nutritionist, Yuri Elkaim. Tune in each week for up-to-date insights on breaking health news and best practices on how to eat for awesome health. It's time to get smarter, healthier, and regain your sanity in a world of information overload. And don't forget to join Yuri at supernutritionacademy.com so you too can master your nutrition and health.
What's up, guys? Yuri here with another episode of the Super Nutrition Academy Health Class, and with me today I've got my good buddy and America's trainer to the moms, Mr. Dustin Maher, on the line with me. Welcome, Dustin.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be on this, and you're a great friend and have just done an incredible service to the world with all the information you put out, so I'm honored to be on it.
Thank you, and likewise, if you guys don't know who Dustin Maher is, you can check out his website. It's DustinMaherFitness.com, right?
Yeah, that's M-A-H-E-R, so Dustin with a D,
yeah.
MaherFitness.com.
Yeah, and Dustin's doing some incredible stuff with building some awesome mom-led communities around the States, and just really getting, he's got a real passion for helping single mothers just stay fit and active, because having been brought up by a single mother himself and finding that
stay at home mom. Sorry about that.
The terminology was off there, but having realized that moms tend to sacrifice a lot and don't take care of themselves as much as they should have. You've really dedicated yourself to giving them permission and the time to take care of themselves, which I think is terrific, and you're building a great movement. So I just wanted to commend you on what you're doing.
Well, thank you. It's been very exciting to see the progression. I can't wait to see where the next few years and decade or two go. Yeah,
definitely. And I mean, you've created a ton of at-home workout DVDs and stuff like that. Yep. So if any of you guys are interested in checking out his stuff, again, you can go to DustinMaherFitness.com and you can check out all the cool workout DVDs he's got. And today, I'm not even sure what we're going to talk about, really. We're just going to kind of, got to go with the flow. But I guess, at your recommendation, we could talk about women, weight loss, exercise, some of the stuff that you're an expert in, and we'll just, kind of go from there. So to get the conversation started, what is one of the in your experience dealing with, because you still run boot camps and work with actual live people.
I work with hundreds of moms every day.
Yeah, it's great. So what is the biggest obstacle for a lot of these moms with respect to getting active?
Sure. Well, the big one is lack of time. That's usually the number one thing I hear. And maybe, inability to maybe get out of the house, to go to a gym, for example, with childcare situations, or don't have the finances to hire a babysitter, something like that. So lack of time is the biggest problem. And a couple of things I tell them. One thing is, if you want to do workouts at home, like you said, you've got workouts. I've got tons of DVDs out there that are sold in tens of thousands all around the world, which is pretty sweet. You can do them before your kids get up in the morning. But the biggest thing is you got to prioritize it. And I'm sure you've talked about this a lot. And you got to schedule it in there, just as important as like a doctor's appointment, or scheduling in just like you brush your teeth in the morning, you work out at some point. Mm-hmm. And just making it a priority, making it a non-negotiable is really the best way to do it.
That's a good point, because obviously Amy, my wife, we've got 2 little kids, as you know, and she wants to go to the gym, she loves working out, but she just feels so constricted with the kids at home, and it's really as a matter of fact as saying, you know what, I have to go to the doctor at this point, at this time of day, and that's it. That's just the way it is. It's the same thing with the workout. So I think that's one of the benefits of working with a trainer like yourself, or going to a boot camp where at 6 o'clock or at 5 a.m. or whatever time it is, like, you have to be there. There's that accountability, which is huge.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for 80% of the women out there, working out before the kids get up is the best time to do it. I mean, I know if you're not a morning person, getting up at 5:30 or 6 or whatever that time is for you, to get that 30 to 45-minute workout in can seem overwhelming, but you may have to get a little more disciplined at getting in bed a little bit earlier, but you'll have so much more energy. It's a great way to start the day. There's very few excuses at 5:30 in the morning. Your kids aren't going to be up yet, hopefully, unless you have a little baby. And like you said, from an accountability standpoint, whether you go to like a boot camp or a gym to do it, or if you do it by yourself at home, or what I encourage, women to do if they live close to each other, is to go to each other's like basements or meet at a church or school or something, and have a couple people that you don't need a group of 50, to have that energy and that accountability. You just need a couple good people, and like you said, I build community groups, and that's really what I'm most passionate about is helping moms build deep, authentic relationships with other, women. Doesn't have to be a mom necessarily, and build that as a healthy lifestyle, because, the world is trying to give us every reason, every excuse to be fat, sick, and unhealthy. Mm-hmm. And if we're surrounding ourselves with people who are just kind of believing what the world has to offer right now, they're going to, try to sabotage us if we're trying to make progress. So you got to find those hidden gems of people who really do want to change, and not only want to change from like a psychological level, but they really want it like really bad. And those are the types of people you want to be around.
Yeah, and I remember the documentary that you showed us a couple months ago that you had made about a lot of the communities that you guys were building. It was amazing. I mean, like, you're taking just regular moms who have no like personal training degrees or background in fitness or anything, and these are people who've transformed their own lives, and now they're leading 20 plus women or however many women in the local church in boot camps. I'm like, this is awesome. I think that's like grassroots. It doesn't get more grassroots than that. And I think that's how you really create a lasting and a viral type of change and impact.
If I could just butt in there too. I think, anyone's listening, you don't have to be a woman, you can be a guy, anybody, just if you have a certain level of knowledge, and it doesn't have to be a high level of knowledge, if you guys have been listening to Yuri's programming or have his Eating for Energy or whatever programs that he's come out with, I mean, you have so many tools in your tool belt just there, that knowledge that you have that you can share with people. I think so many times we're afraid that we don't know enough, or we're not like the perfect role model to want to be able to like lead change. And I just really love to like give people permission, like, you know what, you know enough to make a difference. And like, at least with like my DVD programs or this thing that I'm coming out with, which by the time you guys listen to this, you may already know, it's called 6-week challenges, where we're paying people to become leaders in their community, and they just bring other women into their home, do this 6-week program together, and get paid for it. But for so many people, it's like really scary to lead a group and become a leader. And what I've seen is just amazing transformations. I use exercise as kind of the gateway to transforming a person's life, and I know you do too. If working out was just to get into a size 2, I think I'd be very unfulfilled in my career. But the changes that you see in a person's body and the energy and all that kind of stuff, that's just the catalyst for transforming their lives in all other areas. Mm-hmm. And that's what really gets me pumped up, is just to see people who are maybe shy, timid, embarrassed, low confidence, take that massive step and kind of just, become a leader. It could be a leader to one person or 5 people or 10 people, and they slowly build that confidence up over time. And then, before they know it, they're looked upon as a leader in their community or within their friends, and people are coming to them for advice, and they're, hearing all these amazing stories about how their lives are being transformed. So, just a little encouragement for anybody listening. I want to give you permission to go out there and share what you know. Again, it doesn't have to be much.
Yeah, that's awesome. We actually just did an episode on the idea of not having to be perfect. And I think this relates to what you just said. We, like, as human beings, we tend to think that we have to have all these letters after our name to actually go out and help people. We have to become a certified health coach or a personal trainer or whatever. And in some cases, obviously, that is merited. But I firmly believe that, I think you do as well, is like, you lead by example, right? So if I have a good friend of mine who I grew up with who he's in the insurance industry, but he inspires more people to work out than a lot of personal trainers that I know, just because he lives it, right? And I think that's awesome with what you're doing with all these women and stay-at-home moms who are able to just enjoy exercise and spread that kind of contagiousness within their community.
Right.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
So we talked about the obstacle being lack of time, and then obviously the need to really prioritize your workouts. When it comes to healthy eating, what are some issues that have come up again with those you've worked with?
Yeah, well, there's just so much conflicting information out there. I mean, even for us, who follow nutrition closely, you hear one thing and then the next week it seems like there's a contradictory thing. Mm-hmm. And I would just say, first of all, like, what you hear in the media as a whole it's still not true. Like, they are so behind the times. There's so much bureaucracy. There's so much money behind their studies, all that kind of stuff. And I know, you and I have such similar beliefs on what is required from a nutrition standpoint. And I think it's coming along. It's getting there. But a lot of what, like, the news or things you see, online, it's just wrong. So basically, biggest tools, eating as natural as you can. That's the simplest way to say it. Just getting away from processed foods. And I say it so many times, but yet I still see my clients eating so much processed food. So either they're not understanding or they're choosing, to still do it. And the interesting thing, I just watched, had a lot of my clients over to my place for a little, I guess a party. Mm-hmm. And we watched King Corn. Have you seen King Corn?
Yep.
Yeah. So good documentary. I enjoyed it. I recommend it. And it just really, talked about how in our history kind of things went to corn and soybeans and genetically modified things. And it really happened in the 60s and 70s mostly. And we're eating this processed crap, this fast food crap that we think, because we've been raised in this our entire lives, that we think this is normal. This is what humans do. But it's only been over the last 50 years that this is what humans have done. And we're obviously seeing the consequences. It's like everywhere around us. But we live in a society that makes it normal. And it makes it weird if you eat organic food or buy local at a farm or use a co-op or whatever. So that's just one thing. Just try to stay away from the processed food. If you just do that alone, that'll get you there, 80, 90%. Weight loss wise, I definitely have found for most people decreasing carbs is a solution. Eating a higher fat diet, which most people are scared of fat.
Higher good fat.
Well, yeah, good fats, yeah, absolutely. And then, a good amount of protein. That's what we found. And then lower carbs, getting your carbs from whole grains, and then a little bit of fruit, and then, lots of vegetables. Mm-hmm. And, again, it just goes back to the less processed thing. So those are, I could go on and on on nutrition, but food journaling is still, I think, one of the greatest tools.
Yeah.
That, it's something I require all of my clients to do at least for a few weeks, because we just have no idea what we're eating, and it's a really great eye-opener, because a lot of times we'll eat subconsciously. We'll just grab and go, and we don't really put it to paper, put it to our mind. And once you put it to paper, it really opens your eyes up to what we're consuming.
That's very true. So with the women that you work with, what have you found? Obviously, a lack of time is an issue for exercise. It's probably an issue for preparing healthy meals. What are some of the success strategies that these stay-at-home moms have been able to employ? And I'm sure being active is a great kind of catalyst at helping them prepare healthier foods as well.
Yeah, and I work with a lot of moms. That's kind of why I started with stay-at-home moms, but now, I work with probably more that are working moms than stay-at-home. So this applies to anyone. A couple things, one of the biggest issues besides lack of time is their kids won't eat it, or their husband won't eat, whatever they want. Is trying to make something healthy. Yeah. And making that transition. And so a few tips that I found to work well is to include your kids in the process. If they're old enough, 5, 6 years old. Ask them, what do they want to eat? What are some things? And then if they're maybe 8, 9, 10 years old, my mom on Fridays, I would kind of be in charge of the meals, probably when I was more like 12 or 13. And I would have to look in the cookbook, find a recipe, and then whatever ingredients we didn't have, her and I would go to the store together. And then we'd come back, and I would help cook it and chop up everything and stuff. And it really gave me ownership of it. Yeah. So including your kids, even if it's like 4 years old, your kids are, cutting with a dull knife or something, just getting them involved, that's huge. And then, introducing different vegetables or fruits or whatever into their meals. And if they don't like it, just keep reintroducing. I mean, there's lots of studies you've probably seen where it's like 7 or 8 times at least you got introduced to certain food before the kids will take it. And another one is just don't think you should be a short order cook. So many moms think that, oh, my one kid doesn't like this, and then my other kid doesn't like this, and my husband refuses to eat this but likes this, and then I've got to eat my certain things. So they become like a cook for 3 different meals. Just basically say, I'm the boss, I'm the mom, this is what I'm making, and this is what you're going to eat, basically. And maybe give like one option of something else they can grab, but you're not cooking, for 3 different orders.
Totally. Yeah, it's that's something we try to instill in our house. And I mean, we'll be in the middle of dinner, and Oscar will be like, "I want smoothie," and we're like, "No. This is what's happening for dinner right now. You can have a smoothie tomorrow." So it's I mean, for anyone who has kids out there, you all know the battles that we go through. So it's a lot of fun.
A couple other things. Yeah. A couple other things. I'll just quick. Planning ahead. That's a huge one. And one of my programs we started 6 months ago. It's probably my most successful program called Killer Curves. And Killer Curves is only for people who have to lose 50 or more pounds. So a lot of people, there's the obese and morbidly obese basically we're working with, and they have developed the worst habits basically of eating. And one of the biggest things we do is just really encourage them to prepare their meals ahead of time, of course. And we encourage all of our clients to do that. Whether it's Sunday, make a list of each supper and maybe lunch that you're going to have, then go shopping, cook in bulk. That's nothing new. But then also the night before, kind of make a list of the day ahead, the next day, and really like hone in on where you're going to like have your meals, the timing of things, and then have healthy snacks with you, whether you're traveling in the car or wherever, so that you're never caught being hungry without a good solution.
That brings me kind of just conjure something in my mind. How do you, what do you do to get people who are like biggest loser type of obese? How do you get them to shift the momentum away from, oh my God, I just want to sit on the couch and eat, and there's no way I can lose weight? How do you get them to move from that state of being to, all right, I'm ready to work out, I'm ready to do this? Like, what do you do?
Great question. Well, to be honest, if they're still in the stage of, I just want to sit here, I don't want to do anything, I mean, they're not ready. We know, I thought for many years I could change someone and put them in a state of wanting to, but they've got to get to the point where they're ready. They've either hit rock bottom, they've had a traumatic something happen to them, or they have something in the near future that they're terrified to go to or do at their current state. And we charge, it's a pretty high ticket price item, and I would still say there's 20 to 30% of the people that are coming into it aren't ready. Yes, they paid the money, but they're not committed yet. But what we try to do once they say they're committed, and to build that momentum up, the first thing we do is we have the community. So they're with other people who are that large as well, because the chances are they've surrounded themselves with very unhealthy people in their lives and unhealthy habits. And those people, most of them are not going to be too supportive of them trying to make these changes, because that means that they're going to either have to change too, if they're living with them, for example, or they might lose the person as a friend. And that's one of the biggest challenges. But from there, we do, of course, the food journaling, and we do a feelings journal. I think that's a pretty important thing. Feelings journal basically meaning throughout the day they're just kind of sharing how they're feeling, being kind of tied in maybe to the foods they're eating, to the sleep they're getting, and just really becoming aware of their body. And then each day finding those wins, those little things. They said, and we have a private Facebook group too. That's another thing for the accountability and community. But they'll share donuts. I just walked by the donuts 3 times at work today. Those little wins, and celebrating those little wins, so that we can kind of start to build not only the habits but those positive reinforcements.
A little bit of Dan Sullivan positive focus there.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, trying to build that momentum through positiveness.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, as you said, you can't motivate people to change. It has to come from within. And, both you and I get this all the time. It's we'll get questions. Well, I'll get questions of people I need motivation to to do X. And I'm like, to be honest, it can't come from me. It has to come from within. Or you have to find some kind of bigger reason outside of yourself. Maybe you do for your kids or for, something that's going to really give you a visceral reason to follow through with it, because it is tough initially. It sucks initially. If you're used to not moving, it's going to be tough, but it gets easier as you go through it.
Yep. And I try to turn, so if you exercise the first couple of times, especially with weights, you're going to be really sore. And I try to turn that from a negative pain soreness to, I say, just think of it as your body thanking you for the exercise, for the movement that it's giving, that you're giving it. Mm-hmm. And just try to turn everything into a positive instead of a negative.
Yeah, that's an interesting thank you,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Thank you for the pain, for every step I take.
Yes, I will take more. Thank you.
Yeah. Or you know what? Also, another thing we do is we say, yes, this might really hurt right now. It's really painful to work out or exercise. But think about the millions of people around the world who don't have the use of their legs, who are paralyzed, who don't have legs or arms to move, and they would give anything to move their body like you're moving it right now.
Yeah, that's some serious perspective, because if you see guys like Sean Stevenson, or even a lot of, even watching the Paralympics, when you see individuals missing a limb or something, and they're still crushing it, and it's there's really no excuse. And sometimes it's nice to get things into perspective and be a little more grateful for what you have. Yeah. Sure. Awesome. All right, dude. So I know you have to run. So once again, everyone listening, if you want to check out Dustin's stuff, which I recommend you do, DustinMaherFitness.com. Are you still running that Facebook page?
Yeah. So we got our Facebook group has about 600,000 on it. There's 2 Facebook pages. So if you go to I Love Being a Mom on Facebook, or if you want the URL, facebook.com/I Really Love Being a Mom. And then also, Fit Moms for Life is our movement. My vision, my mission is to have 1 million moms committed to being healthy and active. And actually, Yuri, one of the new things we just launched was this really cool pledge, Fit Mom for Life pledge, that you can kind of sign. Nice. And our goal is to have 1 million moms sign that thing. So you can go to Fit Moms for Life, that's FOR, fitmomsforlife.com, to learn more about that. And it's pretty cool. And I think over the next few years, just the awareness and the importance of being fit and healthy is just going to continue to become more apparent as more studies and research comes out on healthcare costs and just so many negative things with how unhealthy our world's become, how much people are on drugs, prescription drugs, that doctors are recommending for depression, anxiety, whatever, blood pressure, so many things that exercise and eating healthy can cure.
Totally. So just before we end off here, what's the number one killer tip you can leave our listeners with to lead a healthier, fitter, more energized, more healthy life?
Oh boy, let me see here. We really didn't talk too much about exercise, so I just want to give you my main focus from a fat loss standpoint. That's kind of what I'm known for, besides the community building aspect is women lift weights. That's the biggest tip I can give you. And don't be afraid of bulking up, lift challenging weights. When you lift challenging weights, kind of do it in a circuit fashion, a lot of my clients, they don't need to do much additional cardio. We do a little bit of burst training or interval training, which is 10 to 60 second intervals of exercise. And those 2 things alone with a healthy eating plan can create killer bodies, and you can feel so good off of it. So that'd be my biggest tip from an exercise standpoint is lift weights.
Yeah. Awesome. And I think all gyms should get rid of the 2 and 5 pound dumbbells.
I agree.
Awesome.
Totally.
Well, thank you. Thanks for taking the time, Dustin. I really appreciate you sharing your knowledge. And for everyone tuning in, thank you for joining me once again. Don't forget to share your comments back at the blog, supernutritionacademy.com/blog. If you have a question for Dustin, just put it in there, and then I'm sure we'll get it over to him. And until the next episode, thank you very much, and we'll see you then.